Governor Andy Beshear picked up an endorsement in his bid for re-election today from 35 law enforcement officials from across the Commonwealth.
The coalition is called Law Enforcement for Andy Beshear. Officers from the western edge all the way to eastern parts of the state have given their full support for a second term for Governor Beshear. During his news conference from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, the governor touted his work with the legislature to get $15,000 pay raises for Kentucky State Police. He says he also secured millions in funding for new training facilities and equipment.
I view today's endorsements as a continuation of the good work of those that don't run from the challenges that face our state, but run towards them. Because at the end of the day, every Kentucky family deserves to feel safe, and that's what I'm out there doing. That's what these folks are out there doing as well.
The governor also talked about his time as the Commonwealth's Attorney General when his office cracked down on human traffickers and decreased the backlog of rape kits. The Republican Party of Kentucky gave a response to those endorsements tonight. They say in part, quote, in his first year in office, Andy Beshear released nearly 2,000 criminals. Crime is bad enough without Andy's help. That's why Daniel Cameron has been endorsed by more than 100 members of our law enforcement community. Daniel Cameron will be tough on crime, just like he has been as Attorney General, end quote.